Then, welcome to Expert Education and this in this event, Expert Connect. I'm with University of Wollongong representative Lisa Manodra. Thank you, Lisa, for having us, and I hope we'll be able to answer all the doubts students are having nowadays related to Australia specifically. Because in this pandemic, they were like much more worried about like we have started our courses online, and when this border is going to be open, our practicals are not being able to done. So these are the questions we'll be having. Okay, so first I guess we'll start with your introduction, like what your job role is and something about your duties and everything.
Sure. Thank you for having us. In fact, first of all, a warm welcome for everyone who's joined us today. A happy Diwali, though we've missed wishing you before, but then just a gesture there. I hope you've enjoyed it with your loved ones and had a lot of sweets that we always look forward for that festival of the year. Now, just to take this discussion forward with who I am and what is my role with the University of Wollongong. So just to give you a brief understanding, I am a working professional for the last 15 years. My experience ranges in the industry, which is the education industry. I have been a professor teaching students at the undergrad and the postgrad level. The difficult subjects as called as accounting, business mathematics, statistics is what my key profile was. However, during the work experience, during the tenure of my career, I kind of felt that there is more in me in terms of exploring the opportunities that I gain. So that's when I went across and joined the University of Wollongong as a recruitment advisor. During this role, I am working in the capacity as an advisor to students based in India with the programs at the University of Wollongong, their entry criteria, the scholarship that a student can get, and guide them to select the correct program at the University of Wollongong. So that's how I have been welcoming students to the University of Wollongong for the last 3 years now and counting more. And the good part here is, when I speak with students such as you, I understand coming from the Indian, culture, we look at certain avenues, when we are selecting a university, because it's a very important decision for us. It's an important investment by our parents, and that's where I will connect you with what are the positives with studying at Australia first of all, and at University of Wollongong in that case.
Thank you. And now, my first question will be like, I guess each and everyone wants to ask you, that is like, when borders are going to be open for international students?
So this is the hot pepping question everyone wants to ask: when is Australia going to open up borders? Let's understand why first Australia has kept these borders closed. Though, there has been a lot of people saying that, there is a relatively very less population, they could have opened up the borders, but no. Australia as a country has taken up the stand in terms of protecting their citizens first, which is very important rather than just commercializing everything. So we should appreciate this factor that the country is looking after its countrymen first of all. Now, having said this, the country has now also come to an agreement that yes, you have to live with COVID, but to live with COVID, the roadmap was established, which had categorically said the moment 80% of the population within a particular state is vaccinated with both the doses, the borders will open. And so has that opened up for New South Wales specifically, where University of Wollongong is situated. So the first pilot project, which takes about 500 students back to Australia, begins in the month of December this year. Already, all the NSW universities have communicated it to the students who are currently studying with them online. So as with us, so the students who had started studying in 2020 online with us until now are studying online. Already we've communicated them and took an understanding of who becomes eligible to come back to the university on a first come first basis. So the first flight from India flies on the 6th of December, followed by a flight on 23rd of December, which takes certain number of students to New South Wales, Sydney specifically. They'll quarantine for the 14 days initially. These expenses with regards to the quarantine services will be borne by the university cohort. And then once the students are given a clear signal, they go back and join their university in terms of a face-to-face class module. So this is the green signal that is there for all the international students that yes, the pilot project execution date is approaching. Everyone at the university is preparing. So are the students who are going back on the campus soon.
That's a great news. Okay, one more thing regarding to this, online learning thing. That during this pandemic time, number of students has actually taken an admission to different Australian universities, along with that in different countries as well. Okay, so what kind of subjects they needed to learn during the offshore thing?
See, in terms of what has come by to us because of COVID was something not everyone expected to have happened, right? And adaptability is the key at this point in time. If you do not adapt, you become extinct. So this is what happened to the dinosaurs. They could not adapt to the changing in Earth's environment at that time, and they were extinct, right? So we don't want to categorize ourselves into that category. And even for that matter, I would say students did start online studies with us. Now, with the University of Wollongong, what became as important turnaround fact is that the university was always prepared for online delivery. Because even when the classes were happening physically on campus, these classes were always recorded for a student so that they can refer to these classes later on. So that whole system of online studies was not something new to us at the university. Also, what was given as a levy to the student is that the student could study a minimum one subject online. So let's suppose there was a student who went in for a master's of engineering. So there are certain compulsory core subjects that they have to undergo during the first semester. So out of those 4 subjects, the student had that opportunity of applying for a reduced study load at the university because of the reasons that they were not physically present in Australia. So they could have studied only one subject. So a lot of our students have done it that way because we do understand it could become overwhelming for a student to understand the teaching methodology in the first go without any help here in India with them. Though, as a university, we did have that support for all our students. So be it in terms of peer-assisted support system classes, be it in terms of interaction with the faculty later on after the classes, booking up consultations, having other online services like the online library available for them. But still we were, there were technical factors like certain students did not have the bandwidth at their particular city. There was electricity issues. So we did understand all of those things, the students that faced in India. So we had given them an opportunity to study minimum one subject online. So that's continuing till now. There are students who are studying full load as well. They've completed 3 trimesters with us since 2020 that they have studied. And now they're looking forward to going back on campus soon.
Okay, so those are on your priority list, like who has completed the maximum amount of the syllabus?
No, see, in terms of the priority listing, the listing goes by students who had enrolled for 2020 first. They would be the first ones to be called back on campus. And alongside that, wherein students require more of physical classes, wherein labs were missing for students, because obviously labs were not something that could be delivered physically.
Yes.
So yeah, that becomes much of a priority. Health students become a priority for us because obviously there are certain requirements in terms of their, internships or the number of hours of practical training that they have to undergo. So that becomes as a criteria for selecting students who are called back on campus. However, everyone will be called onto the campus. It's just that the moment the pilot project success has been established, the number of students returning back to Australia will also increase. And so then everyone gets an opportunity to get back to a campus.
Okay, it's great. Actually, that will give clarity to the students, like how this priority list has been created. Okay, that's good. Now, you are aware that there are other countries who are student-loving country. They do provide good education also. So, in that competition, how Australia is, coming in the first place? How it's a student-centric country?
So let's first understand the geography of Australia. Australia is the biggest island on this world, right? I call it as the island because it is surrounded by the sea. Now, when you look at the Australian history, you would see Australia's history has, wherein more of immigrants have been there. The original Australians are very less, and if you look at any of the current Australians, they would have one or both of the parents who were born outside of Australia. So that's how welcoming Australia has been in the past as well. And that makes it as a factor for an international student as an attraction there, number one. Number two, another reason why Australia should be on the radar for a student is when we look at the universities which fall amongst the top 100 or top 200 universities in the world ranking, Australian universities are a majority of them. So if I'm not wrong, amongst the top 100, there are about close to 10 universities, Australian universities, and amongst the top 200, there are about close to 20 such universities. And in Australia, the concept of education is more of public education system. So, if you look at a university, you will find out that the university is a public university. Like the University of Wollongong, for that matter, is a public university. It ranks amongst the top 193 amongst the top 200, and it's 193rd in the world rankings as of now. Having compared that with any other country, or even compare that with India for that matter, the universities that possibly you have on your radar might not even categorize under the top 200 in the world rankings, right? And having said, with the quality of education that we're talking about comes the factor of affordability within Australia. So if you're looking at going in for a postgrad degree, generally, students do not have to go in for an extra year of study. So if you've done, let's say, if you're coming in for an undergrad degree, if you've given your grade 12th, you go straight into an undergrad degree. There is no requirement of an additional foundation year for you. So that's the biggest advantage for you. Also, if you're coming in a postgrad degree, again, if you've done your grade 12th and then 3 years of a study in India, you can go for a postgrad degree. Whereas in other countries, there is a foundation, there has to be 16 years of education. So that's not a criteria there. And the biggest advantage is if you're coming in for a postgrad degree, all the postgrad degrees are for 2 years, they're not for 1 year, which is again acceptable when you come back here in India. There are countries which would give you only 1 year of a postgrad degree, but then that's not equated out here in India in that case. So that education system always benefits you. Apart from this, the benefit at studying or of the benefit of studying in Australia is majority of the degrees that you study are recognized through boards. Like if you come in for a bachelor's of engineering or a master's of engineering with us at the University of Wollongong, it is recognized by a board called Engineers Australia, which is a world recognized engineering forum. So once you've done a degree which is recognized by that particular forum, your degree is automatically recognized through the Washington Accord in countries like US, UK, New Zealand, Canada, anywhere in the world for that matter. So if you move from one country, like let's say after completing the Australian degree, if you want to take up a job opportunity in another country in the Middle East or anywhere, that degree makes you equally qualified out of there. So it's not just an Australian specific degree, it's a world recognized degree that you get. And then comes the affordability and the scholarships being offered out. So even the Australian government has been very generous in terms of scholarships to international students, and so are the universities as well. So in those regards, that is the reason I find Australia as more attractive for an international student. Plus, let's not forget for the fact, if you're studying in Australia for 3 years, you have an opportunity of staying back in Australia and having a temporary residence, also called the post-study work, right? Which could go up to 4 years, depending upon the university that you choose. So currently, based on the current norms, there are status of regional universities, wherein if you study at the regional university for 2 years, you get a 3 or 4 years of a stay back in Australia then after. So that's one point that also attracts a lot of students back to Australia.
So when you were talking about, USPs of Australia, like why Australia is, loved by the students for their educations. Like, I guess few points are also for University of Wollongong, because University of Wollongong has its global presence. It's not just limited to Australian campuses. You do have other campuses in other countries. So can you just tell us more about it?
So before even I begin about that, let me just give them a little introduction about UOW, because without that, the connect doesn't happen.
Sure.
So University of Wollongong, as I said before, is a public university. Currently, it is ranked amongst the top 193rd universities in the world ranking. Now, if I compare that within Australia, its ranking within Australia is also pretty high, amongst the top 10 within Australia for an engineering degree for that matter, or a computer sciences degree. Having said, there is a lot of research work that happens at the university. So close to about $105 million of research funds were generated by the university. Now these researches aim at sustainability, they're towards health, finding a cure to Alzheimer's and cancer, to developing a 3D organ. So at the recent development that has happened is a 3D ear that has been developed at the university. So those kind of, researches are ongoing at the university. Now, this obviously manifests with the fact that the University of Wollongong not only has campuses within Australia, we have 9 campuses as such, out of which 6 campuses are domestic campuses and 3 campuses are meant for our international students. Wollongong being the biggest campus, just about 80 kilometers away from Sydney. The advantage of Wollongong in that case is the cost of living of Wollongong as compared to Sydney is 50% cheaper or more affordable, I would say. Now, apart from this, the university has 4 campuses across the world. Our oldest campus is based out of Dubai, which is amongst the oldest campuses of an international university based in the Emirates as well. That campus has undergrad, postgrad programs available. There's another campus in Malaysia. We have a campus tie-up in China as well, Hong Kong, China as well. And then one based out of Singapore, which is again a partnership. So students do get an opportunity if they would want to study, few semesters out there in a particular campus and then take a transfer to the Australian campus as well. Those opportunities are available for our students. Also, we have exchange programs with about 150 plus universities across the globe as well. So if a student comes in for an undergrad degree, if they would want to do 1 semester abroad, they can take up that opportunity as well and complete the degree with the University of Wollongong as well.
That was great. Actually, we have one question in Q&A session. So it's question from Bansri Kutesha. It's what about PhD programs? I guess in which field that is not clear, but Bansri, we are having this Q&A session end of the webinar. So all the question will be answered right after completing this discussion. Till then, you guys can drop your questions in chat box or either in Q&A section. Okay, yes, go ahead with the video.
Give me just 1 second, just screening it out.
If you're facing any technical issue, I can help you with that.
Grows us and shapes us into the people that we want to be after we finish our degree.
Are you able to hear the sound?
Yes, I am able to hear the sound. You just need to put it in a full
Opportunities that the university provides us, grows us and shapes us into the people that we want to be after we finish our degree.
It's that combination of that personalised experience combined with the world-class outcomes.
You meet people from all over the world.
We've not only got a campus here, we've got a very strong campus in Dubai, in Hong Kong, and we have other programs throughout the world.
Every single one of our lecturers, tutors, they're all people that work in the industry. They've got connections themselves. They know how the real world works. And the connections that we have with our lecturers and tutors is incredible.
We've got a strong link with local industry. If students are after internships or work experience, then that's very important.
When you say that you are graduate from University of Wollongong, they know that our university has good reputation.
Got my job because I was studying the Masters, has a great reputation across the employers both in the Illawarra and nationally.
It's given me the education to do what I do today, which is the job I always dreamed of having.
Compared to Sydney, a little bit less busy, but there's nothing short in terms of options.
One of the main benefits of living in Wollongong and studying at the university was the cost of living.
idea of what university is going to be like, how independent I'm going to be, how I'm going to lead my life. And so far, it has just exceeded my expectations.
The University of Wollongong has absolutely shaped who I am and where I'm at today.
It's given me the opportunity to study, to make friends, and to grow as a person.
That video was wonderful and given us aspect of actually how big the campus is, what kind of environment you guys provide to the students, especially the medical programs, because that's actually quite an important, and such facilities are not available here in India. Like we have to practice either directly on the patient, or we just have to do the observation, because directly patient can't afford to give that experimental.
So Yep, that is what is important in the Australian study is, it is theoretical yet practical. So let's suppose you're doing in bachelor's of nursing or a master's of nursing, you would have some component of your studies as theory, and some would be practical, wherein you will be able to see these cases, and observe and diagnose. Because in Australia, nurses come first before even a doctor would. So the nurse would diagnose everything, write down everything, and then the doctor would come and look at those things and then okay, just sign it off. So nurses play a very important role. So during the video, you would have seen that there are dummies that were kept out. So these dummies are basically programmed. You can program them. You can program them, and they would react in that particular situation, and the student can then automatically assess themselves emotionally, medically as well, that they were able to give the right diagnosis or not at the time.
That's actually great, not being harmful and danger to the patient, and also able to get the diagnosis in a correct way. Yes, that was amazing. Apart from that, actually, I was wondering about what kind of scholarships you provide to the international students.
So the University of Wollongong has a very generous scholarship available for Indian students specifically. There are two sorts of scholarships that are available at the moment. One is called the University Excellence Scholarship, which is meant out for meritorious student. So let's suppose if a student is applying for an undergrad degree for our university, if they've scored above 85% during their board exams, they will get a 30% scholarship for throughout their study period with us. So which is again a huge amount of a waiver from the university. And if you're a student who's applying for a postgrad degree, if you've got a first division or a distinction during your studies at an undergrad level, then you will as well get a 30% scholarship from the university, which stays with you throughout your study period. Apart from that, if let's suppose, okay, you missed on, you could not get that 85%, or you were not the first division holder, but if you've been able to qualify for the university in terms of the criteria, then you get a minimum 10 to a 20% scholarship as a country bursary that stays with you throughout your study period again.
That will actually help them to reduce their financial load. Along with that, I also wanted to ask you, what kind of career are in demand in Australia? Students generally going for, okay, abhi engineering bahut hi chal raha hai, so let's go for engineering. So this is the way they actually choose any kind of program. So I actually don't want to focus on that point. I just wanted to ask you, what careers are, having great opportunity over there?
See, first advice to students is don't go by what others are saying. Look at what your key interest areas are. So even at the University of Wollongong, if let's suppose you've studied engineering, but you do not want to go in for a master's in engineering, but you would have an interest towards, let's say, business degree, you can change your options. You can go in for a multidisciplinary degree as well with the university. However, when we talk about Australia's requirements as of now as a country, see, it's developing, as in terms of there is new cities which are being developed. So there is always a lot of requirement for engineers out there. There is always a requirement for public health programs, because the public health sector in itself, after the pandemic, in fact, we've all understood how important it is. So those kind of sectors are always in demand. Computer sciences degrees are always in demand in Australia. However, not to say accounting has been a very major factor, because if you're a finance student, you would know the financial markets, one is based in Sydney as well. So the financial markets begin from Sydney, then they move forward towards New York in that case, right? So yeah, so those finance degrees are always available. But yes, in terms of engineering, computer sciences, public health, health programs, that has been a major attraction in terms of job requirements at the moment as well.
Also, like, what is the ratio for international students to the local one? Because number of universities actually having, like number of international students and less number of the local students. So that is fact. So parents are concerned about that.
No, with us at the University of Wollongong, as I said before, we have 9 campuses within Australia. 6 campuses are domestic campuses and 3 are international, where domestic students also study with our international students. So it's not that it'll be purely international students studying out there. So for us, let's suppose during the last years, we had about 35,000 total enrollments for the university, out of which 15,000 students were international students. And these international students range out from countries like Vietnam, China, Philippines, India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, moving towards the MENA region, from the Gulf, from Europe, and from Africa as well, and Americas as well. So there is a mixed student. So when you are in your class, you might see that one of your student is from Korea, the other is from Philippines. There is a mixture from Americas as well that is still with you. But yes, in terms, because obviously China and India hold a lot of majority out there, you would see a lot more of Chinese and Indian students, and there'll be a smaller cohort of the other nationalities as well. So close to about 108 nationalities at the university studying currently.
Okay. Great. So having this, multicultural environment, how students are able to connect with each other? So do you have some certain clubs with you? Like, all universities have certain kind of clubs where they can
That is
interact
mandatory
with.
because, yeah, that is mandatory. Why are Indian students going out of their country to another country to gain
It's
that
not always
multicultural
about the
experience?
academic. They also want the fun part.
They look at the multicultural experiences. So yes, at the University of Wollongong, there are about 110 student clubs that they can participate in. Apart from that, in terms of their extracurricular activities, you would have seen there's an Olympic-sized swimming pool, football, hockey stadiums at the university. Even if you're a footballer, an enthusiast in terms of football, we as a University of Wollongong have an association with Tottenham Hotspur, which is an English Premier League club, football club, which officially trains aspiring footballers at the university. So all of those facilities are very much at the university available for our students.
That's great. Actually, during my education, the major part which I have missed is the club. Like, I was introvert during my college time, so I was hardly even able to, make new friends. But having such club will, help me to get connect with the people who are having similar interests in the same field. So that's actually
that's always there. And apart from these extracurricular clubs, there are clubs which are focused towards helping students. So like there is a career central, okay, which is a department which looks at making students career ready within Australia. So from the moment a student lands at the university, helping them shape their resume, guiding them how interviews happen in Australia, how they should go for the part-time opportunities, because students are allowed to work for about 20 hours per week while they're in Australia, right? So helping them get interaction with companies, guest lectures, internships, projects to final career expo. All of those facilities are rendered by the Career Central free of cost for our students. And that is one reason our as a university, we are ranked amongst the top 2% universities in terms of employability, and the second best university as well in India, as in Australia, for a graduate employability survey as well that was conducted by the organizations there that are there. If you need any kind of counseling, be it could be emotional counseling, it could be overwhelming for you to leave your country and be in another country, make friends, or in terms of financial counseling or any sort of legal counseling, all these services are available for our students at the campus. And another interesting factor, because obviously we are not, English is not as our first language. So we, there would be certain words that we're not comfortable with, or there is certain dialect that, in terms of English as well, there is a slang that is used more often in Australia rather than compared to India. So there we have an English conversation club as well for our students. So who feel that, maybe I'm not too good at conversing at the moment, can take help of that club as well.
And that's great. That's actually a great opportunity for students to explore this kind of club and get the help. Okay, so actually we can go to Q&A session, but before going that, actually I have one last question, that is, like, assume that I am an international student. So what points I need to keep in mind while choosing any country or university?
Okay, so we can put that in on our fingertips right now. The first things first is the course curriculum that you're looking at. Whether that course curriculum makes you ready for the industry or not. So whenever you're deciding on a course curriculum, look at the detailings of the same and whether the program is duly recognized by a particular board in that particular country and which makes you recognizable across the other countries as well. Then you look at obviously the ranking of the university because that makes it almost another important factor for you. Third thing that you look after is for the scholarships, because obviously the scholarship is going to impact your budget. In terms, as a parent, you know, as your parents might have said, I have this much of an amount for you, whatever you can do, try and find a solution out of that. Fourth factor that you should look at is the employability of that particular university for that matter. And the fifth factor is the stay back period, whether you have an opportunity of staying back in that particular country or not. Now, with these 5 factors is how you decide. So let me just go back and take these 5 factors towards University of Wollongong now. University of Wollongong's all programs are duly recognized, not only in Australia, but across the globe for you. There are scholarships which are available to an extent of 30 to about starting from a 10% to a 30%. So if I could give you a broad range for a 2-year degree, you might just spend between 25 to 28 lakh rupees for 2 years. That's the total tuition fees for you for the 2 years. Now, in terms of the rankings of the university, as I said before, it's a public university amongst the top 200, tremendous research work ongoing at the university as well. The fourth factor in terms of the stay back period, Wollongong comes as a regional university. So if you study for 2 years, you get an extra year of stay back. That means 3 years of stay back for you. So this is how possibly if you're deciding upon Australia, University of Wollongong could be an option for you.
That's great. So now jumping to Q&A section. So Bansri has asked about the PhD details. So she wants to know more about PhD in computer science and engineering field. So what kind of program we have and what are the requirements? And do we have any scholarship?
PhD, I mean, that's my favorite as well, because a lot of Indian students come and do a PhD with us at the university. We need to just understand first the entry criteria. So we should have had our masters up and ready. It should be at least, a first division in our masters. Then after, we should have written any research papers. Ideally, we should have 2 research papers published to make an application to the university here. We do have a PhD available in computer sciences and in engineering field. So because for us, EIS is the department, which is Engineering Information Sciences, under which computer sciences falls as a part of it. So if you're ready with all of this, get in touch with Expert Connect. They will guide you to help, file an application with us at the University of Wollongong for a PhD. And you can always mention that you're looking at funding as well if you are. So there are chances if the proposal is accepted by your supervisor, you could get some funding from them.
That's great. Actually, talking about PhD in India, when we are, pursuing our master's program, so we do have this small dissertation program, but that is of like just 1 semester, not of entire 1 year. So normally students don't get to, get an opportunity to publish their research. It's more of like just a small project, recorded in a thesis, and that's it. So we don't have generally that publication. So for those
but
students,
anyone who's looking, anyone who's looking at a PhD should have at least 2 research papers published. However, if you do not have research papers published and you've not even, let's say, completed your master's, then you can go for an integrated option, which is a master's by research leading to your PhD. So we do have those programs available as well. But in those cases, the masters of research will be paid by you. And then the PhD funding could be discussed with the supervisor in that case.
Okay, and what are the requirements for masters by research?
It's a completion of your bachelor's degree with at least a 55% minimum. Along with that, an English language proficiency test, IELTS, which needs to be a score of 7 overall with no 1 less than 7.
That's great. We have another question asked by Nirali Panchal, and Nirali is asking, is there any wildlife research program available at the university?
So with us, in terms of wildlife research, not exactly in terms of wildlife research, but we have a master's in earth and environmental sciences. So there a student has an opportunity of going and understanding and going in for further research if they would want to go in for a particular field, but not a specific program into wildlife research.
Okay, so they do have alternative to go through this program.
Yes, so the earth and environmental sciences is the program for them.
Okay, sorry, but coming back to Bansri's question, so she is now asking about, what is post-study work right for PhD students? Is it same as postgraduate students or it is different?
For any student who comes in for a PhD for 4 years, they have a 4 years of a PhD, stay back period option available.
Okay, and the postgraduate students are having around 2 years?
3 years, 3 years. Because we are a regional university, for us, any student at the moment who comes in, 2 years of study plus 3 years of a stay back, provided they study at the Wollongong campus.
Okay, and what if they are studying at the Sydney campus? Then they'll be having 2 years of post-study.
2 years, then because Sydney is
2
not
years.
a regional campus. Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So now I have another question asked by, just a minute, Ajay. So Ajay is asking,
Does the university also have accommodations?
yes, helps with the accommodation.
Yes, we do have
Yes.
accommodations available at the Wollongong campus. There are about 5 accommodations available. So you can choose your accommodation, whether you would want a total private accommodation with your bed, wardrobe, your kitchen set as like a kind of a studio apartment, or would you want to share it with someone? There is a variety which starts at about $195 per week and can go up to about $300 per week, which could include everything from a fully furnished accommodation with your fooding as well.
Great. Now, one more question from Megha. So Megha is asking that she has completed her master's in commerce in 2020. So can she do the double master's in accounting?
Megha, since you've already completed a master's in commerce, we would like to understand why would you come in for a second master's degree then after. If you could give us a proper explanation of the same, you're more than welcome to make an application to the university.
Okay. So when person has already done their MCom, so if the MCom is in different field and they want to go for dual masters in different field, then they can, I guess, relate and take enrollment.
Yes, they can. Just they have to give us an explanation of why a second master's now.
Okay, so explanation is required. Okay. And Disha is asking that she has 4 backlogs in her BTech, and can she apply for masters?
Yes, she can. If this is 4 as a total count and it is inclusive of all the repeats, then 4 is acceptable to us and we can look at her application as well.
Okay, over here, this is small confusion. They actually calculate backlog as me. I have 1 backlog in 1 semester. It's subject wise, with subject you have failed. So that is actually total number of backlogs. It's not the semester you have, failed. It's
No,
number of
I
subjects you have
understand that.
failed in.
What I meant is, let's suppose if I have failed in mathematics level 1,
Yes.
3 times. So I will count it 3 attempts.
Not 4.
Okay.
Not 1. It
Not
won't
1.
be
I will count
calculated.
it as 3. So that is what you need to understand. So if you are saying that in totality you had reappeared 4 times, then that's all okay. We will look at your percentage. If your percentage is also good, you never know, you might get the 30% scholarship from the university.
Oh.
So what I'll encourage you, Disha, is go back and speak to Expert Connect. They are fully equipped. They know the entry criteria for the university and they can guide you whether you'll get the 30% scholarship or not.
Yes, surely we'll love to do that. Now, Janisha is having a question that I want to do master in health and I have completed my bachelor of Ayurveda in 2018 with 2.5 years of experience. Do I qualify to apply?
See, first things first, Janisha, we will need to first understand from where exactly have you done your Ayurveda degree, because there are certain institutions which are not acceptable by the Australian university. So let us first assess that, and only again after that I can guide you whether you can go ahead for a master's degree with us or not, or you can apply for it now.
Now, the next question is about the dependent visa. So Megha is asking, can I bring my spouse and kid who is 6 years old along with me?
See, as Australian universities, we do not discourage anyone on the basis of the marital status for that matter. So if you are looking forward to bringing your spouse and your kid along, you need to declare that to the university beforehand so that while we are assessing your application, we can duly assess that. And you need to make sure that your financial arrangements, your financial capacity shows that you will be able to, support them during your study period in Australia.
Yes,
If
because
all these things are okay, we do not have an issue with anyone who's married making an application and having their family join them while they're studying here with us in Australia.
because her kid is 6 years old, so like that is also eligible for primary education. So she has to enroll him or her as well.
So yeah, she can always look at dependent visa requirements and the facilities that they get and accordingly make a decision.
That's great. I guess that's the questions I was having. Like few more questions I have received from our social media platform. And okay, so Janisa is answering on your question that which university she has completed. So she has completed her education from Gujarat University. So Gujarat University actually considered by
It
the
is
Australian-
considered. Yes, it is considered. So you can go in for health programs like a public health degree. But in terms of going in proper medicine related programs, that will not be an option available for you. But yes, allied services like public health, you can always go in for those services there.
It's more of like the applied one, not the pure.
Applied, yes.
She can go for the applied.
Applied health and not for medicine.
Yes, that's great. Now from the social media platform, I have two questions. First is how many intakes we have? So
During the year, we generally have 2 intakes. Our major intake is February, followed by July for all our degrees, be it at undergrad and postgrad level. However, for only business degrees at a postgrad level, we have 3 intakes a year, which is February, May, and August.
just for business, you have the third intake. Okay, that's great. Now another question, extension of the previous one. What is the deadline for Feb intake? You're still accepting the applications?
We are still accepting the applications, but we'll encourage you to, file your application before the 30th of November this month for major programs. But however, if you're looking at nursing or any health related programs, the deadlines have already crossed by. But for the other programs, 30th November is a good time frame for you to go ahead and make an application, because if you're looking at accepting an offer and filing your visa, the deadline for you should be by December and you should have filed your visa, so that if the borders open up for February, you are able to fly in time and attend your classes with us.
That's great. Janisha is asking, do you have masters in hospital management? So I would like to answer it. Okay.
We do not have a degree in hospital management, but in terms of health related degrees, we would have Masters of Nursing International, a Masters of Public Health available for our international students.
Janisa is eligible for Master of Public Health because she has completed education in earlier.
Education in health, yeah. So she can go in for a specialization there, wherein she can take up a specialization either in health informatics, or she can take up a specialization in research, public health research as well. All of those options are definitely available for her.
Great. So I guess these are the question. Okay, one more question from Megha is, can I show EPF, PPF and GPF for funds if I transfer that in savings account? So actually she's trying to ask what kind of financial, you accept. It's more of like a visa perspective question.
Yes, from a visa perspective, let's understand when the assessing officer looks at your profile, they're looking at the funds in your accounts or your sponsor's account, and you should have proper documentation from where these funds are. So if you have an EPF or a EF, you should be able to showcase the transfer from these EPFs to your savings account, or any fixed deposits over the last 3 months is what the bank statements look at actually. And as a university, for us, expert education will be looking at the financials. They will be assessing the financials and accordingly guiding you with regards to how much more funds or what is the total criteria required in that case. But yes, you can go ahead and withdraw these funds and put it in your savings account.
Okay, Megha is asking, can my maternal uncle be a sponsor?
Why don't you answer that for them?
Yeah, sure. Megha, actually, any close relative of yours, the immediate one, can become your sponsor. And also you can have co-sponsor, not only one person, also combined sponsor is also acceptable. And you can, call us back and we can discuss the financial matter on call. Yes, and he can sponsor 100%. Yes, he can. He is eligible to do that.
Megha, I'll suggest you get in touch with Expert Connect, and they will guide you with all the nitty-gritties out there. They have been veterans in the field out there. You can trust them. Just go and visit them once, and they'll be able to guide you much better, I would say.
Because post application, the major part is the financial one. How to manage that, how to show it, how much is required. So this is the second part, which is not not worried by the students, but it is a major tension for the parents because it's their investment. They are like, okay, now how we are going to do this? So actually, we can help you that. Megha, I'll get in touch with you right after this webinar. Okay, there is a last question I have received from social media. That is that student has not completed, but pursuing his master's from Australian University and course name Medicine and Nutrition. Now he wants to switch to nursing program, Bachelor in Nursing. So what are the requirements and can this switch is possible?
Since the student has already completed a master's degree, coming back
into
a bachelor's in nutrition.
In second year, yes.
So they can go in for a exemption for the bachelor's degree, but all those exemptions will be looked in by the faculty. So I really can't tell you how many months of an exemption or how many credits of an exemption will happen, but definitely, yes, they can go ahead and make an application if they're onshore. Our Bachelor's of Nursing is a recognized program by the Midwifery Board in Australia, and it only has one intake a year, which is February each year. And we're looking at an IELTS requirement of overall 7 with no band less than 7 in this case.
Okay, so IELTS requirement is the major one, which he needs to fulfill. Followed by we can go for the credit, how much he can get for the previous course, which he's
and you'll have to make an application ASAP because though the deadline is already approached as it's already surpassed. 30th October was generally a deadline, but since you're onshore at the moment, we can look at the application for you.
Okay, there is one more question about the engineering field. So what are the specializations we provide in the engineering field?
I love to talk about engineering because that's the forte of the University of Wollongong. We fall amongst the group of 8 associate members, making us amongst the top 10 universities in Australia for an engineering degree for that matter. We have specializations ranging from architectural, civil, mechanical, mechatronics, electrical, telecommunications, management available for all our students, both at undergrad level and postgrad levels. And the advantage here comes is the fact that the programs are duly recognized by Engineers Australia, making your degree recognized across the globe, as I spoke before. And if you're looking at an undergrad degree in terms of engineering, it could range between, it's generally $150,000 for 4 years, but your scholarship will come into factor here. And if you're looking at a postgrad degree, it generally starts at about $75,000 for 2 years. Again, then a scholarship of 30% would come by for you in that case.
Okay, and the scholarship program is, when student is not eligible in the first year, is it possible that they are eligible for the second year based on their first year performance?
Yes, there are opportunities for a student to qualify for a Dean Scholar, which could be a 25%, scholarships given by the university, provided they have above 75% at the university during their study period with us, and they clear the interview, which is both not only academic but overall contribution towards the university as well that they look at.
Okay, talking about this contribution thing, so is it possible if a student is performing great in one of the club, which is associated with the either cultural thing or the sports thing, so is he or she is eligible for such kind of scholarships?
So it's both academic and extracurricular. It's just not extracurricular, it's both put together.
We have one more question for Bansri. So Bansri is asking IELTS band requirements for PhD students.
I'm sorry, if
IELTS score, which is required for
IELTS, yes, IELTS requirement for a PhD student is again overall 7 with no band less than 7.
Because PhD is something quite serious course, so the requirement and the application is quite tough.
See, it's more about presenting information. So English for IELTS is just a matter of evaluating your, proficiency in the language, your command over the language. So IELTS definitely, when a score of 7 is established, it shows that you're proficient in that particular language as well.
Extension to this question, what kind of research funding University of Wollongong is having?
See, at this point in time, there is a lot of funding available from the Australian government as well with us with regards to health and medicine programs. Apart from that, in terms of sustainable development, we have our own institution as well, which looks at renewable energies, renewable buildings as such at the university. So there's quite amount of research funding available at the university.
So research is quite trained in of University of Wollongong. Okay, so I guess that's all. I am not having any more questions from either of this platform. So at the last, Lisa, what you want to tell to our viewers? Like, I am aware about University of Wollongong because we are closely working since so long. But what about the viewers? What do you want to tell them?
See, if you're looking at education outside of India, you're looking at good quality of education, yet and at an affordable option for you. University of Wollongong definitely is a choice. Do discover the programs. We have close to about 300 degrees available. Connect with expert. They will guide you with the right program. And let's meet on campus soon. And apart from that, I mean, just a word here that stay safe, stay focused at this point in time, and don't think that because of COVID, your program for education has stopped. No, it should not stop. You should adapt to the situation, as I said before. Even if it is starting online for you at the moment, do start online. You will return back to the campus soon, and then you can always interact and have the multicultural experience that you're looking at on campus with us.
That's great. Actually, I missed one question in the chat box that a student is asking, I will complete my BBA next year. So what are the career opportunities he or she is having in management?
See, if you will be finishing your BBA, then you can come in for a double master's degree with us, wherein you can choose amongst 10 options and you would get 2 master's degree. You will not get 1 degree with a double, specialization. You get 2 separate master's degree. Here, the options range from accounting, financial management, business, HR, business analytics, for that matter, supply chain management, project management. So you can choose any 2 options and you will get 2 master's degree with us. And that is a highly reputed degree in Australia at the moment from our university.
That's great. I guess that's all. Hope if anyone is having any question, we still have 5 more minutes left. You can ask about anything. So wait, Lisa, that was wonderful having you along with us. Actually, that this webinar is not just cleared our students' doubt, but also my doubts. So I was also having few questions like, okay, so there is one more question from the same student. What is the course fee for the same?
So double master's degree at the university generally costs you about 70,000 Australian dollars for 2 years. But then, as I said, there is a minimum 20% scholarship that you can get, or a maximum 30% scholarship in this case.
Okay.
So it's between a 20 or a 30. So depending upon your marks, if you are above, a first division or a first class from university, you will get a 30% scholarship. So in that case, the fees drops down to $49,000 for 2 years. So if I convert that into Indian currency, between 25 to 28 lakh rupees for 2 years.
So it's also answering his second question about the scholarship thing. Okay, that's great. I guess that's all.
Thank you so much for having us here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to connect with expert. I'll again say that. They will guide you with the correct information that is required. And at any point in time, if you want to connect with me, they will help you connect with me as well.
Okay, sorry to hold you back. Actually, there is one more question from the same student asking, how can we manage our cost of living? Is there part-time job available? Yes, they do have part-time job. You can do it either in your field as an experience, or you can also choose to work on campus. They do have cafeteria, library. Also, you can choose to work in any kind of food chain around the campus. So this kind of part-time job they can give. Or along with that, actually, we do have in Australia, they do have some websites on which they can put their resume and CV and get the options for their job. You want to add anything in this?
See, in terms of students, students should expect the thing is when it comes to part-time opportunities, these are odd jobs. It could be working in a mall, it could be working in a restaurant to begin with, till the time you gain more experience of the country for that matter. And as you graduate out in terms of your job, the more you learn in terms of the culture, the more you study in Australia, you will be able to change into careers then after. So initial start is always a start with odd jobs and then later on going in for your other opportunities. And while you're studying, you have an opportunity of working for 20 hours per week. And for that matter, Australia has the highest part-time rate offered to international students as a work rate. And while you have your vacations, which is generally during the month of December and January, you can work full time for about 40 hours a week as well. So that definitely helps you cover your living cost in Australia. However, as recommended by the Australian government, you should have funds which are available to support you for a 1 year of living in Australia.
That's great. People are asking about how they can connect to us, post this event. You can either write us an email, call us on our number, and here in the chat box I have mentioned my email address, so you can write your query and you can ask us what are your doubts, what are the requirements you will have to make for your application, what are the deadlines, scholarship requirement, everything you can ask me. So here is my email address, you can note it down, and you can followed by this event you can ask me that. Okay, so I guess that's all. Yeah. Thank you, Megha. Yes, we have received number of good participants this time who are eagerly wants to continue their higher educations in Australia and willing to make an application. So far, they were actually bit in confusion, like whether they're going to open the border or not, because number of students has faced while pursuing their education online, as you have mentioned about the technical error and everything. So they do have.
But this is something we need to adapt into. But then, yeah, if international education, as I'll repeat this, if international education is something that you're looking forward for, this is the right time to upscale yourself, upgrade yourself, because, obviously these edtech options that have been made available, you're not losing your time. You're not wasting your time at the moment. Also, the Australian government has been very thoughtful for the fact that they have said, if international students who are holding valid visa and are studying online, their duration of online study will be contributed as if they are studying in Australia. So you should not worry whether you'll be able to get your post-study work right or not. That will always be taken care of.
Yes, totally. Okay, Lisa, so I'll just end the session over here. Hope
Thank
to
you
see
so
you
much.
in person soon, and also to the students, hope to have more walk-ins and have one-on-one conversation rather this just a virtual thing. Hope you all have enjoyed your Diwali and still enjoying, some of them like still enjoying the Diwali because they do have Diwali vacation over here. Okay, Lisa, it was
Thank you for
nice
having us
talking
here.
to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.